Sample drums? What's next? A Gibson endorsement and change your channel into a country and western mixing channel?
Well, I did the drum sample thing because Paul Lonnie opened up my eyes. As for a Gibson endorsement, well, they're too scared to send me a guitar for fear they might get an actual review. And I don't think the country and western thing is ever going to happen because I'm just not into having sex with my family members. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another fun-filled episode of SMG Viewers Comments, my show where I answer your comments and questions to the best of my ability. If you've got a question about recording or mixing or something like that, or just a cool observation, I'd love to put it on the show. I love hearing from you guys. We're 320 episodes into this series, and I don't think it's going to be slowing down anytime soon, because I am always happy to hear from you guys. You got a comment or something like that, leave it below if it's cool. I'll try and put it on the show. Anyway, let's get right to it.
The thing is, we are now hostages of the great tech companies that obviously need to sell new stuff to keep running. I think it's not even a great professional studio needs any hardware software that wasn't available 10 years ago, let alone the reality of 99% of musicians, including myself. The great hoax is not Pro Tools costing the price it costs, it's having to buy a new computer because a perfectly functional one has no longer support.
I think that's an absolutely incredible observation. I mean, how many of you guys out there, and I really do want to hear from you in the comments on this one, how many of you guys have had something that worked that you had to basically get rid of and upgrade to something completely new, like buy a new computer or something like that because it was just no longer supported? I mean, there's a system by Ensoniq called the Paris system that came out in the late 90s that some guys still swear by because it works so well if they can keep the hardware running. I mean, like, that's just the thing. Sometimes if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I've definitely seen that. I know a lot of guys out there still use a lot of older Mac computers to keep their Pro Tools rigs running because they just don't want to upgrade to the new version because then they'd have to buy all new hardware and all the bullshit that goes along with it. If you've been in that situation where you feel like you've been fucked over by one of the tech companies or one of the software companies into buying something you really didn't need, I'd like to hear from you because maybe we should do a dedicated episode on that phenomenon and call the industry out for what it is. It's fucking bullshit!
Yeah, once you put the titles up, I can hear the difference, but wow, is it subtle. Definitely thicken things up a bit, especially the snare, but I can see how you can spend years not realizing that you're hearing blended samples. I don't generally record stuff as heavy as you do, but it's definitely a trick I could have used in the past sessions to help drums pop, and we'll definitely experiment with this in the future.
Of course, he's referencing the video I did on the SMG Ironic drums. That video wound up doing a lot better than I expected, and turns out a lot of you guys really like how that whole thing's going. So, hey, live and learn, move forward, try new things, all that good stuff. The whole idea behind that sample set was to make it not sound like fucking samples, to try and get something as authentic to a real thing as we could, and I think we achieved it. If you haven't checked out that video, it came out last week. It's definitely worth taking a look because I show you guys kind of a before and after thing. And yeah, if there's no titles on the video, it's really hard to tell where the samples are. So I think we succeeded with our mission.
So if you can't distinguish reels from the sample, why would you spend the time to do them?
Because we don't want them to sound fake! Well, the whole reason we did that set is for you guys out there who are struggling with maybe getting great drum recordings on your own. This will kind of help you push things over the edge and make it sound a little better without it sounding completely fake. I'm sorry that subtle metaphor was lost on you. Please go back and check the video out again because we actually go through a not so great drum recording and show how it can be improved. It's definitely worth taking a look.
I've been listening to some classic 60s albums, Velvet Underground and Nico, Hendrix's and Cream's studio stuff, some Beatles, and one thing stroked my ears through my stellar audio system. By today's standards, those albums sound like shit. Any competent home recording has better audio quality nowadays. However, I'll listen to them again many times, and besides this moment, I really don't give a crap about this. So, watching some of your last videos, I like to ask, don't you think that somewhere down the road, we'd just lose our focus making music and begun obsessing about gear and production by the sake of it? Love your channel, best regards, and a warm fuck you from Brazil's South End.
This is a second comment in the same video by this guy. I think he's got some great observations. Hey, a warm go fuck yourself from the northern wastes of Canada, where it's still pretty warm out because we're just in early September here. Anyway, I do think you've got a great point there, is that many of us have lost ourselves along the way, and we stopped focusing on writing good songs and started focusing more on the gear because, honestly, that's easier. It's like you can definitely compensate with equipment as opposed to sitting down and writing something memorable. I mean, one of my absolute favorite records is Judas Priest's Sad Wings of Destiny. Now, that's not a spectacular sounding record by any stretch of the imagination. It certainly isn't the heaviest record ever made. That's for sure. It's pretty tame by today's standards and might be even considered somewhat lo-fi. But the songs on that record were absolutely amazing. And great songs trump production every single fucking time. And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're just fucking delusional. The fact of the matter is, even some of the most bare bones, basic entry-level stuff we have available in the digital realm is miles above what they had back in the 60s and early 70s. And if you're not getting good results with that, you need to look at your engineering skills and not your gear. Making your production sound better has to come from within and not from buying better gear. Great gear is great to have. Don't get me wrong. I've definitely built up a great collection over the years and I'm very happy to be using it. But you can certainly get great sounds without a lot of super expensive gear. You've just got to work on your skills. Okay, guys, before we get into Butthurt of the Week, I kind of want to address the shirt I'm wearing here now. Science says you're an idiot. It's kind of dedicated to a lot of the people out there who are pushing superstition and misinformation, that kind of thing. I thought I'd dedicate a shirt towards them and give them all a great big double middle finger salute because I fucking hate that shit. I really do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this shirt available for this weekend only, and the sale will end Monday night. So you've got 5 days to get your hands on this, and for all you drummers out there, that's this many, to get your hands on this awesome long sleeve shirt. We've also got it on an awesome coffee mug as well with the super cool SMG logo. Science says you're an idiot. We've also got a super awesome hoodie as well. These things are great. They're super comfy. I wear these all the time. The zipper hoodie. It's also got the cool SMG logo on it. Nice and warm for those upcoming fall days. Highly recommend getting one. And of course, we've got on a regular t-shirt and a tank top as well. Once again, we're going to have this available till end of day Monday. So if you know somebody who thought taking horse dewormer was a good idea and now has to live with a colostomy bag, make sure you wear this shirt around them just to get your point across. Anyway, it's going to be available till end of day Monday. Grab it while you can because once it's gone for good. Now time for the Butthurt of the Week.
Who the actual fuck wonders why if anyone can play metal on a Marshall? The most stupid ass question I've seen in print all fucking week.
Well, hi, Kai. Thanks so much for writing in and let us know how outraged you are that we dared ask the question, can you play metal on a Marshall? Now, if you had actually been paying attention, you'd know that this was part of a much bigger series we started several years ago with the question, can you play metal on a Strat? Because that's what one of the big questions on YouTube was. Can you play metal? And it comes up on a Strat. We're like, okay, let's make that video. It took off, so we did a whole bunch more. And we covered the Telly and hollow-bodied Les Paul. And then we started getting into amps. We did one on the 59 Fender. And then we did the Marshall. Why the hell not? It was a really fun episode to do. And if you actually stopped and watched the video, you realize it was a history piece and not just an inane question. But then again, I guess asking you to wait 30 fucking seconds to watch the video just a little bit to see what it was about is a little too much to ask when you know better. Thanks for sharing your awesome knowledge with everyone. The world is truly a better place because of you, Kai.
Whoever said LA is dead is sadly right. The whiskey is owned by these delusional, money-hungry creeps who still think it's the 80s and every weekend you're bound to discover the new Motley Crue at their venue. In reality, it's a super small old building with a stage barely big enough to fit a 5-piece band. They don't allow video or photos to be taken at their shows because they sell photos and videos of your band playing, so you're not allowed to steal that money from them. Seriously, I had a guy pull me out during the show and make me delete all my videos and pics before letting me back in. They charged my band back in the day 30 tickets at $25 a piece. And of course, being a young local band, we did it and had to front the money of the tickets we didn't sell. Oh, but we sure got lots of record execs calling us nonstop after that gig. Yeah, right.
You know, that's really fucking depressing, but I think you're absolutely right. I've only ever went to one show at the Whiskey, and yeah, something smelled a little fishy about the whole setup. It's like, it was Quiet Riot's last show, actually. Frankie Benelli went out in a fucking blaze of glory. I'll give it to him. He played it like it was his last show on Earth, and sadly it was. The guy could really play drums. The rest of the band wasn't that great, but that guy could really play drums. Anyway, the whole thing struck me as a little weird because, yeah, the Whiskey is pay to play for a lot of those indie bands and unknown bands, and You know, I just don't understand it anymore. You're gonna pay to play at a club on the hope that somebody's gonna maybe possibly see you and sign you a record deal. I mean, like, you'd be way better off putting that money into doing a single or a music video or something like that, where you're probably gonna get your music across to a much bigger audience than what the whiskey can hold. What struck me weird about that night was they were selling the seats that were close to the stage. They were selling those at a premium price over your ticket price. So if you're in a young independent band or you're thinking about playing the whiskey, think again. They're definitely taking care of themselves there. They're making sure they get paid, but the bands aren't doing so well because of it. So keep that in mind and maybe think about playing somewhere else.
Probably a naive observation. I see when recording drums, there's mics on top of the toms, overheads, hi-hat, but it's only the snare that gets 2 mics. Why don't the rack toms and floor toms receive the same treatment in the recording process?
Well, we mic the snare from the top and the bottom. One gets the crack on top of the stick hitting the skin and the shell and all that kind of stuff. The bottom mic is to get those snares resonating on the bottom and get that kind of sound. All the other drums don't have snares across the bottom skins, so there's no real reason to do it. I have seen some situations where the toms do get mic'd top and bottom, and that can be kind of a cool effect. Put a 421 on top, 421 on bottom, and kind of mix it on the board. Just make sure you flip the phase on the second mic there. And yeah, you can kind of mix the attack with a resonance of the tom, and it will sound very good. I saw Warren Hewitt do that at Sunset Sound a couple years ago, and I thought that was a pretty cool effect. But that's a very 70s style technique. It's cool, but you need a lot of mics and a lot of preamps and get very expensive to do that. And honestly, with a lot of the mic techniques we have these days and just the technology of some of the microphones, I really don't have a problem getting a lot of bottom end out of toms. That's for sure. One thing some guys might do, though, is mic a ride from underneath just to kind of isolate that mic just a little bit so you don't pick up too much splash from all the other instruments going on the drum kit. That can be a cool effect. Once again, that's a recording technique we all stole from Andy Steep. Thanks, Andy. You rule, dude.
It's funny how you mentioned bands insisting to work with someone who has Pro Tools. The studio I work at has the opposite problem. We run Pro Tools, but get a lot of people requesting Logic, usually because they want to work on the mix themselves, which is hilarious because they usually suck.
That's a new one for me. I've never had somebody insist on a Logic project. Then again, I work with Reaper, and I used to work with Saw Studio. When a band would ask for tracks, it'd be like, well, you don't get the project file. I can give you the raw multi-track, so I'll do that. Basically, the mix is my thing. That's kind of my little own secret recipe, and some kids kind of turn their noses up every now and then. I'll be like, hey, just because you buy the chicken doesn't mean you get the Colonel's recipe. That's not how it works. You want the raw tracks, that's fine. I'm not going to dispute that. Have fun mixing that however you want. And then a lot of them usually find out, yeah, it does take a lot of effort to mix stuff. So things might not turn out as well as they'd wanted. But then again, hey, a happy client is one who will usually wind up coming back. So there is that.
Hi, I want to do covers on YouTube, but I know how to avoid problems with copyright and its other problems that YouTube has. How can I avoid those problems for me to do cover?
You can take a wild guess that English isn't your first language. I wish I had an answer for you. Unfortunately, the whole copyright thing on YouTube is a bit of a vague nightmare. Some people can do it, some people can't. It's really fucking weird. There seems to be no standard set of rules anybody follows, and the record labels figured out a long time ago that they couldn't make money selling records anymore, so they just go after people doing covers on YouTube and take all their revenue. I mean, Rick Beato has gone over that subject I don't know how many freaking times over the last couple of years. I definitely recommend checking out a couple of his videos because I think he's got some very good points. My suggestion would be do a couple covers, see what happens. I mean, if you're going to release something on Spotify or something like that, you go through DistroKid and you can get a cover song licensed there, and they make sure the owners get paid and you still make money. It's great. But nobody, to my knowledge anyway, and I could be completely wrong here, maybe this has changed, nobody's figured out a licensing system for YouTube yet, and I think that's a real shame. If anybody knows anything different, please, I would love to be corrected on this thing. If there's a system to do covers on YouTube effectively where, the rights holders get their percentages and people can still make money doing it, I would love to know about that. Please share with the class.
In the US, I had to give the post office $120 for my guitar shipped from Tolman. I had no idea I was on the hook for that tax. I found out when I had to go to the post office to find out why the fuck they didn't deliver my guitar. Fuck you, because we can fee no universal healthcare, not even legal weed.
Hey man, that's just how it works. Generally, if you're going to import something from another country, you will be subject to import taxes. The fact you only had to pay $120 isn't that big of a deal. You should try living in Canada and paying some of those taxes. But then again, yeah, we do have universal health care and legal weed, so there is that. Sometimes it might actually be worth it. But I hope you enjoyed the guitar you got from Toman. Anyway, like I said, I really like my Harley Benton Amrock. That green one especially is just an absolute fucking monster. So might be worth checking out. Might be worth paying a couple extra bucks. Just keep that in mind when you're ordering stuff from out of country, that sometimes, yes, you might have to pay tax. That's just how the world works. Sucks, but you can't really do anything about it.
Is an electric drum set worth buying?
Well, the best answer I can give is depends on your situation. If you're living in an apartment, yeah, probably going with electronic kit would probably be a much better idea than a full acoustic kit. That way you don't get fucking evicted for pissing off your neighbors. And yes, if you've got a bunch of neighbors who are a great big bunch of pricks, an electric drum kit might be the best way of doing things. That way you don't annoy the hell out of them and create a nasty living situation. Personally, I love the sound of an acoustic kit, but I've gone through a lot of steps to make sure I don't disturb those around me. If you're willing to do that, then go with an acoustic kit. If you're willing to set up a room that you can acoustically isolate from those around you, you just cannot beat an acoustic kit. I will say this, though. I have been talking with some friends at Roland, and I might be checking out some of the new V-drum kits in the near future, just because I understand that's a lot of you guys out there. That's basically what you're going to be playing or what's available to you in your living situation. I want to make sure with you guys, and I want to hear from you here, is that something you want to see on the show? Do you want to see some reviews on the new Roland V-drum kits? Very curious to hear what you guys would have to say about that.
Hey Glenn, I have no idea how to write this, but I got a vent. For the past 4 or 5 months, I've been trying in vain to set up a small little bedroom studio, and it's been slowly driving me completely insane. If it wasn't the first furtive, endless, frustrating steps of learning a DAW and even how to use one, navigating the endless sea of free and paid VSTs, hardware failures, then it's software failures while dealing with the hardware failures, it's all becoming way too much. I just wanted to try out some cool VSTs and record my ideas. Instead, I'm stuck with 4-hour-long troubleshooting sessions that eat into my sometimes completely subsume my time to actually practice and learn music. It's been months since I've even written a riff, and I'm going to 10 shades of snake fucking insane. Also, my regular amp, it blew out, and unwisely decided to spend my money on studio monitors instead of a new amp. How full-time audio engineers manage to not claw their eyes out in frustration every day, I don't know, but all this bullshit is making me consider selling all my gear, moving to Chile, and becoming an alpaca farmer.
Or you could just get a Mac.
What would be your all-hoser Canadian guitar rig? Guitar, amp, pedals, etc.
I think I've actually got all that right here. I'd definitely go with the Rev 120 Mark III in the lovely snakeskin here. That's my first choice. Where's my Charbonneau? Give me a second. Got this lovely ash guitar from Charbonneau Guitars. These guys are from Montreal. Make sure you check out my Tonewood full up there that I put out earlier this week. And I'm giving away this guitar's sister. We're giving away the mahogany one. Definitely worth checking that out as well. So I'll have a link to that video probably at the end of this one. Make sure you go check that out. As for pedals, I really like the Master Effects stuff. And for a cab, yeah, the Rev cabs as well. Just phenomenal stuff. You can get some really cool stuff from Canadian builders these days. I don't think there's any Canadian microphone companies anymore, though. I could be wrong. If somebody knows something that I don't, please, once again, share with the class. I'd love to hear from you.
DRM on a demo. That one plugin, I think Rhino it was called, had it in their demo. I got to the iLock registration screen and just stopped there. The plugin was only $50 in the first place, too. I understand wanting people to pay for a product, but the inconvenience of DRM is such a turnoff.
Yeah, but you know what? Getting an iLock isn't really that big a deal. I was kind of dead set against it about 10 years ago, but you know, I buckled down and bought one. I'm glad I did, because it's definitely opened up a whole world of plugins that I wouldn't otherwise have access to. It's like, do you want to play? You know, if you want to play, you know, sometimes you gotta play by somebody else's rules. It kind of sucks, but the great thing is you only got to do it once. For the record, I'm going to be doing a demo on the Rhino plugin at some time real soon. I've been messing around with it. I think it's really great. I think it's got some amazing sounds. And for $50, it's definitely a steal as far as guitar amp sims go. It's really fucking cool. Definitely worth checking out. Make sure you're subscribed so you get updates for when that video comes out. It's definitely going to be one to take a look at.
Nowadays, anything with a 6-core processor and 16 gigs of RAM is more than enough for audio production. Just dump all your sessions onto an external hard drive.
Yeah, you know, I gotta go with the external hard drive thing. I mean, I just got this the other day. This is from like OWC. This is a 2 terabyte SSD drive. This thing's phenomenal. I use this for moving video files around. I shoot B-raw, and some of the files can be pretty massive, so having something like this on hand is really fucking cool. Like, it takes almost no space whatsoever. I mean, like, by way of comparison, here's like a 6 terabyte drive from 2019. Yeah, just to put the two together, it's like, yeah, there you go. Seriously though, I think I am going to pick up a MacBook this fall. I'm waiting for the 17 inches to come out. The ones with like the new M1 chips. I've been hearing some really great stuff about it, not only for audio production, but for video production as well. I think Apple's starting to kill it with their new silicon, and they're definitely getting the whole price performance thing figured out in a way that's going to be real affordable. And I think the PC side of things better step up their fucking game, or they're going to get left in the dust. And this is coming from a diehard PC user since 1992. I don't really care about brand loyalty. I don't care if it says Mac or it says PC. I care if it fucking works and it's affordable and gives me performance. That's what's fucking important to me.
Glenn, why don't you make a video about video production? That would be awesome. Oh, and fuck you from Mexico.
Well, I'll put that one to you guys as well. Would you like to see a behind the scenes video and have me show you guys how I put my videos together? I've thought about doing it, and if there's any kind of demand, yeah, I can probably do that one day and just kind of show off, what I use for cameras, editing, all that kind of stuff, and just my whole process and how it all fits together. If that's something you guys would like to see, I would love to make it for you. Just let me know in the comments below. All right, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for coming back week after week. I'm more than happy to answer your comments and questions about recording and all that good stuff. Once again, the Science Says You're an Idiot shirt is going to be on sale this weekend, and it will end Monday night. So get it on the long sleeve, the short sleeve, the tank top, the coffee mug with the awesome SMG logo. Or get it on this really comfortable hoodie as well, because it's going to be fall real soon and things are going to be cooling down, and hoodies are definitely awesome. Anyway, thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys again next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And until next time, let's make some great music together.